I'm back at project house number 1, and the back porch addition is already ripped off. So what we're going to work on today, it's just me today. I'm going to work on starting to dig out along this basement. The goal will be to get this basement wall dug out so that I can waterproof along it, and then after it's dug out, work on digging out the footer. The addition that we took off is going to be put back on, but I'm going to put it on a little bit better this time instead of just putting on a deck. Going to dig out for the footer. It's going to have a footer, a block wall foundation, and that's going to be built on top of that, and it will hopefully be here for the next couple hundred years without any issues. So I'm new to running an excavator. I bought this thing just to use out here to help move things along. So I'm just learning. It's going a little bit slow. I did find out after today that I could move the boom, and once the boom is moved, like I can be sideways with the boom moved and get a little bit closer. So that's what I end up doing later on in the videos. But in this one, I was just digging it like this. I kind of just dug down maybe 5 or so feet down, but this is going to be a pretty long video digging all this out. I'm going to have some music going for most of it, and then I'll pause and say what's going on during some parts. So let's get into some music. That was the end of the first day, and now we're on to day 2. And the second day, Corey came out to help me dig a little bit. I believe this is Friday. But Corey came out. He can dig a little bit faster than I can. I'm just learning. And then I kind of worked on pushing the dirt away from the foundation, shoveling it away, making sure we were deep enough, stuff like that. But we'll get back to a time lapse now and put the music back on. At this point, the footer we're dug down to the footer on this basement wall. So it's just ready to be cleaned up, and I'm gonna put a rubberized Henry foundation sealer on it. Now this is going to be fully enclosed by the other footer and the block foundation, but I just want to go ahead and get it cleaned off, get it sealed up, and then I'm going to fill that whole pit in with gravel. So if by any chance, there should never be any water in there, because the other footer and block foundation should keep the water out. But just in case there ever happens to make any in there, it's going to have gravel 2 foot wide and as tall as the inside of that crawl space would be, so water would be able to drain out of there. And now we got Blake running the excavator. He can run it much better than me or Corey, so make it go a little bit faster. And right now is day 2. The basement, that back wall is dug out. Blake's going to start digging for the footer to go, and Corey will be in the skid steer pulling the dirt away. I got the zip level there, checking the depth, making sure we get deep enough, making sure everything's staying consistent depth, etc., etc., etc. But I'm gonna put the music back on. And the one thing saw happening, took the dirt out of the bucket and put some WD-40 in it to help this dirt from not sticking. When we do that a couple times, it helps the dirt dump out rather than just sticking to the bucket. I'm going to put the music back on, and I'll give you an update in a little bit.
Here's an update. This is the end of the day. It's about 9 o'clock. But got this all dug out here. Tomorrow I'm going to scrape this down, put tar on, and then we're going to work on digging the rest of this footer out. Here, along there, back on there. It's going to be backfilled with gravel. Here up to like right where that is. So there's going to be about 2 foot of gravel backfilled here. And then we'll have about 1 inch, 2, 3. Then the footer will go on top of that. But hopefully tomorrow, get this all cleaned off, get tar on it, start getting some gravel in here, and get the rest of this dug out. But while we're out here tomorrow, I'll get some more time lapses, and you can see the progress. It's coming along pretty good, going a lot quicker than I thought it would be going, but stay tuned.
Now I'm back, and this is the 3rd day of working on this project, and it's about 7 a.m. You can see I got that nice new haircut, looking fresh. But I'm just going to work here on scraping as much of this dirt and get this wall as clean as I can prior to putting the foundation sealer on. And I spent a couple hours getting this thing as clean as possible. And again, I don't really think this was 100% necessary, as the footer will be going basically blocking this whole area, so there should never get water. But just by any chance, I just wanted to get it done. And once the footer's poured and the block is on this area out here, I'm going to coat that. So it's going to be coated, and then I'll put in a footer drain, etc., etc., etc. We'll have the footer drain, we'll have the downspouts buried. Should be looking good. And now Mavis is here. She's in the purple back there. She has a YouTube channel as well, so you can get a different perspective if you want to see her side of what's going on. Although she doesn't really have a lot of like these construction type videos, more like fashion, day to life, etc. But her YouTube channel, I'll put on the screen here, so you guys can go check it out if you want to. And now she's even putting some of the sealer on there, but I took over. She was trying her best, but just doesn't move quite as fast as I was moving. So I was showing her, and she was adjusting the camera a little bit, moving it around, getting it where she wanted it to go. But I want to be back here with more of the time lapse. This time lapse is moving a lot faster. I'm not really moving that much faster. I think the setting just got changed apparently, because it looks like it's in like super fast motion. The product that I'm using here is a Henry foundation sealer, and it's a pretty good product. It went on very easily, seemed to stick pretty good. Here's the final look at it. It took maybe 20 minutes to get it all in there. And one thing I will note is on this corner we're looking at now, this left hand side, there were a couple holes, cracks, etc. I kind of dug those out a little bit, and Mavis even dug them out a little bit, and then I mixed up some hydraulic cement and put it in there. And that was before. I didn't get any videos of that, unfortunately. But now we're back to later that day. This is like sometime in the afternoon, evening, and came back out for a couple hours to work on getting more of this footer dug out. Was hoping to get it finished today, but didn't quite make it. So I'm going to put it back on the music, and then I'll give an update here in a little bit. what I did there was I just put a second coat of the foundation sealer on. It says you really only need one, but I really didn't have anything to do, so I was like, I might as well do something. So put a foundation, another coat of that on, and then I was measuring, checking grade, etc., 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 making sure we're getting the proper depths, proper spacing, and everything was going good. Blake's still running the excavator before he's running the skid steer, moving the dirt, and it's coming along really nicely today. So I'll give an update at the end of the day. That darker video, that was the end of day 3. That was about 9 p.m. again. Now we're starting a new day. This is day 4. I'm here by myself at the start of it, but let's get into it.
This is a new day. You just saw a time lapse of the first load of gravel going in. I got 2 more scoops in here. So what I'm going to do now is fill in with gravel here and here. I'm going to fill it up just to be level with the footers, and then that footer's going to need dug out. But the goal today is to get that footer dug out, get all of the gravel in here, and get it all compacted so it's ready for the footer to be poured in a day or 2. The coating came out really nice. It dried on there, so there should be no concern of any water. I didn't put a pipe in here because there's going to be a wall on both sides and the back of here, so I don't think a ton of water is going to get in here. And if it does, this is going to be stone about 2 to 3 foot wide and 2 foot deep, so it's going to find its way to drain out the sides here, because I'm going to dig up both sides, put footer drains in, and essentially waterproof the sides as well as we did the back here. But stay tuned. Hopefully we get some good time lapses today.
here is the finished product. The footer is dug, the gravel is put in, it's all been compacted. Compacted it a couple times in layers, so everything is basically within about 1/8 of an inch across the whole way. Really didn't need to be that precise, but since the footer's going on it and the concrete kind of make up some of the distance, but figured we got the dip level, might as well get as close as we can. It's all compacted. You can see how smooth it is. So, and when it compact down, the 8 inches compact down probably an inch and a half lower than when we started. So it does compact a lot, and it was important that we got this all compacted prior to starting, because you don't want the footer to be poured on it and then it to settle. I went ahead and marked out where the footer is going to be to. I have a contractor that's going to be taking care of the footer block, etc. But just wanted to mark it out, square it up. So we checked, made sure everything was square, spray painted it on, and there it is. That's about where the block will go. So the footer will be wider than that, but that basically shows where the block will go. And then in here, it's going to get a little bit more gravel, but I'm going to wait to put more gravel until everything's poured and we'll backfill everything. But thanks for watching.